Welcome to Salon Conversation. I'm Lisa Conway and I'll be your host. For many people, the salon is a space where they take time out for themselves. They chat with their stylist or therapist about anything and everything, and most importantly, they leave feeling refreshed and beautiful. In this episode, I'm going to read a chapter from my first book, The Naked Salon, which is a hilarious take on running a small business, and in my case, a salon business. But many people have told me that it applies to all small business. The things that I heard standing behind that chair for almost 30 years, I could have sunk that town, you know. So sit back, relax and enjoy, and I promise you it will not be boring. Chapter 13. I find it hard not to give you a lot of information, as you're probably working out while you're listening to these, and thank you for staying with me. Chapter 13 is called The 3 R's: Rebooking, Recommending, and Retail. Now, I wrote a whole book on retail, and I don't know if you know it, but it's a really lovely book for people on your team to have, because the one thing I know for certain is that you can go mental wanting to educate people on your team that they should be recommending things, right? It's our job. And I get so frustrated when people look after, you'll have a team member and she looks after 25, 30 clients and not one of them takes home a product. And I think, how is that okay? Who's washing this lady's hair, or who's cleansing this girl's skin? What are they using? Why aren't they using your product? You love this product. And so there comes a big story, big enough for a whole book. So it comes in audio too, as they all do, if you're interested. But, recommending services, that's your job, right? People are shopping when they come into your store. They are not coming in and they want a haircut and then they get a haircut and they leave, right? So, or they come in because they want their legs waxed or their toenails painted or something, and that's all they want. They're shopping. The same as, I don't know about you, but have you ever been into a shop to buy a dress and you left with a pair of jeans? Absolutely, right? And that's no different in any form of shopping. What we think we want and what we want are two different things. And it's our job as professionals to ask the right questions so that we get to what the person's needs are and give them what they want, right? So quite often people might ask you for maybe a haircut, but I think they need a treatment. The reason their hair's flying away or frizzy or whatever is because it lacks moisture. So I think it's a sin to just cut their hair and don't address the elephant in the room, is that, love, I don't know what you do to this, but when you take it home and you wash it in what, you don't know, and you don't put any moisture back in. So that means you're just taking out the moisture. Every time you wash your hair, you're taking out the moisture. You don't even know if this person washes their hair twice. Do they put the conditioner on their scalp? Do they even use conditioner? Or do they put the conditioner on the ends? Like, you might think this is petty and small. Well, it ain't. And the amount of times that I have shared with people who are not hairdressers and not beauty therapists who've asked me questions about what would be my recommend for shampoo, and I ask them some questions and I ask them, do they shampoo their hair twice? And they're 40 years of age and they say no. I think, how does that happen? Well, it's because we're not doing our job as hairdressers and beauty therapists, and that's pretty sad, but it's pretty true. So it's your job to recommend retail. That's it. Get over yourself and this fear of rejection, or I don't want to be pushy and I just want to do my job. I just want to do my job. I don't want to be a salesperson. Well, hello, that is your job, right? And you can change the word from selling to telling, and you can recommend, but your job is to make sure that that person has everything they need when they leave your store. And if that person leaves your store and you don't know what they use on their hair and their skin, sorry, you can say whatever you like, but I'm going to argue till the end of time. That's your job. And what I know for certain is that when clients purchase a product from you, they are more loyal. People will only take home your products because they take your advice. And the only reason they're going to take your advice is they know you. And yes, they can know you in one treatment. They know you, trust you, and like you. You don't ever go into a pharmacy or anyone in the medical field and the doctor goes, I better not tell her because I don't think she can afford to buy that cream. for each. No, he tells you what you need. Off you go. You need one of those. This is the medication you need. And you do it. Now, if you take that script and you don't fill it, well, that's not up to him. But he says, or she says, this is what you need. We've got so much emotion in the game. We get all fancy about whether or not the person's going to say no. Get over it. It's not your job. Your job is to tell the person what your best recommendation is. Now, the third recommendation, so we should be recommending services. We should be recommending retail products. And the last one is we need to be recommending when you want to see them again. So you don't go goodbye and you wave them off and think, I wonder if that pigeon is a homing pigeon and it comes back to here. I'll tell you something. Unless that person dies, they are going to get their hair done or their skin done or their beauty services somewhere. Why not make it you? Why not make it a connection with this person? Why don't you help this person? Because I don't know anybody that ever sat in my chair that I thought, well, they only need one and then I think this person's going to die. What happens was you're not doing your job, and your job is to not only be their hairdresser now, it's to paint what you think the brightness of the future or what you believe would give them the best results with their skin or their hair. For example, if you do one microdermabrasion on a client today, do you think that's all she's going to need, or do you think it'd be better if she had another one in 4 weeks or 6 weeks' time? Absolutely she would. So recommend it. Do your job. Sell her a package and explain why it would be good. The same as if you're going to do this skin treatment on her and you don't know what she's cleansing her skin with at home, if she even is, well, I think that's not a good idea either. So it's just our emotional state that gets in the way of us doing our job. If you cared for this person, like truly cared, if you think if that was your sister, providing you like your sister, or your mother, providing you like your mother, and she was sitting in a chair somewhere in a salon, would you like the hairdresser or the beauty therapist to truly look after her? And I think the answer is yes. And every person who sits in your chair is somebody's mum, somebody's sister, somebody's daughter. So look after them. That's what you do. Or husband or brother or uncle. So do your job. Look after them. Put your ego aside and recommend a product for today to use in the future. Give them a sample. It's not about the money. It's about you doing your job. Recommend the service that you think that they would be best to have today and what you think they would be best to have in the future once you've asked some questions. And you recommend when you think they should return. You do those 3 things and you watch your business skyrocket. And the best thing about that is you're going to attract the clients who really care about themselves, who want to know the answers, not that, the people who come in and go, yeah, I need that, just do it. No, you're not going to attract those people. You're going to attract the right people. And that's when business gets really exciting. Chapter 13. The 3 R's. Rebooking, recommending, and retail. This is the basis of any salon success. If you get your 3 R's right, you would have to muck up big time just about everywhere else in order to fail. This is how you make money, and money gives you choices. The 3 R's of the hair and beauty industry are rebooking, recommending, and retail. If you don't know how to hold onto the money, then that's a different story. Making it is one thing, holding onto it is another. But if you ask me, what is the first thing you need to do in order to make money in your hair and beauty salon, then I would say, if you are good at what you do, let's say that's a given, then learn to recommend. People come to us for advice on how to look and feel beautiful and how to solve their hair and beauty needs. If you know your trade and stay up to date, then you can make intelligent suggestions with your heart and soul about what will work for them. You can't go wrong. If you get back to the bare basics, it all boils down to recommending these 3 things. Recommend services, recommend retail, and recommend when they should return. These 3 R's determine your future, your success, and the consistency of your business. So, how do we improve your numbers? Every week at our one-on-one meetings, I would ask each of my team members these questions. How many clients do you look after? How much do they spend with you on average? When will they be coming back? When will they return? The first time they might say, I'm not sure. And I could live with that. By the second session, they needed to have those numbers at their fingertips. It's really a core part of their training. One day, some of them will be running their own salon, and they need to know these things. In any case, as long as they worked in my salon, I expected them to have those numbers ready for me. Because if each member of the team could beat their own score in all three of these areas, we'd be on a steady road to success. So, if you take the time to build your professional relationship with clients, talking about their hair, their skin, etc., and you recommend another service, they may come back sooner. If you recommend retail products that they can use at home to fix their concerns, they will love you because you are solving their problems. Not only will they spend more on the day, they will also rebook because they will be grateful for your service and your recommendations. A client who leaves the salon with a booking is about 80% more likely to keep their appointment than a client who leaves without the next date is to call up and make one. How this works in practice. This is really just about recommending what you already know, the things that you take for granted and the things that they don't know and will never know unless you share your years of experience. There's a very old saying that suits it beautifully. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. An American study reveals that if a client purchases one product from your salon, there is a 30% chance that they will return. If a client purchases two products from your salon, there is a 60% chance that they will return. And if a client purchases three products from you, then there is a 90% chance that the client will return. Big difference, hey? So there is a direct link between clients purchasing products and returning. Clients don't purchase from people they don't know, like, or trust. That is why building rapport is so important. The trouble is we think about building rapport is about becoming their friend, and the actual reason they came in becomes secondary to you, but not to them. You talk about everything else, their mother's Botox, their boyfriend's football game, where to buy a cocktail dress and killer heels to match. That's not why they came to see you. That's icing, remember? I tell people all the time, stop selling and start telling people what your recommendations are. A lot of people are too busy today and they rely on you to share what you know, to make your recommendations. You need to be the go-to person. Learn the ins and outs of all things related to your trade so you can wow your clients with the results and with the knowledge you share. If you don't master the skill of recommendation, you can still make a good living, but you will burn out. This, to me, is the most classic example of working hard and not smart. I see this happen all the time. Salons that don't make the most of the opportunities that are put in front of them. If you want to stand out, to be exceptional, an industry leader in the hair and beauty business, then you need to learn to recommend. Here are a few creative examples. Instead of asking, do you want to rebook? You might ask, when am I going to see you again? You might also offer to do something before the next appointment. For example, they might be going on a tropical holiday, and you could suggest that they start their holiday with a spray tan. It might be that they have a function on and you offer to put their hair up or apply their makeup or do those smoky eyes that only makeup artists ever get right. I don't know how many lessons I've had, but when I try to do it myself, I still look like a raccoon. I think if you knew that the client had plenty of time and plenty of money and was going to be interested, then you would recommend more often. Sometimes you are thinking, I don't think she can afford it. So if you don't ask her, neither of you will be embarrassed. I want you to consider this every time you are feeling uncomfortable. It's not your money, it's theirs. They can spend it wherever they want. It's none of your business, but it is your business to give them every opportunity to achieve the outcome they're looking for when they come into your salon. I have a friend named Samantha. Our birthdays are just a day or two apart, and we have the same taste in many things. However, there is one major difference between us. Sam would never buy a bottle of wine under $30. It's important to Sam to drink the best wine that she can afford. She would prefer a $50 bottle of wine, but she doesn't ever go under $30, ever. Whereas I can't tell a good wine from a bad one, and my limit is 2 glasses of any kind. If you took the fancy bottles away and did a wine tasting, I don't have enough knowledge to sort the good from the great, so I don't buy expensive wine. It doesn't make enough of a difference to me. However, Samantha never pays for a pedicure. She can't be bothered sitting there for an hour and having someone scratch about her toenails. She doesn't think it's worth the money. Well, I love having a pedicure. I am absolutely loving it. I think it's worth the money every single time. When my children were babies, I couldn't get to a salon to have a pedicure, so I used to do it myself. I hate doing my own pedicure. I think it's one of life's luxuries to sit while someone is doing a great job. I can be fiddling around on Google, on Facebook, doing whatever I want, and all the while someone's doing my toes. The reason I'm telling you this is because Samantha and I are so alike in so many ways that our money spending habits are very personal. I don't think it's any of your business where people spend their money. It's simply your job to recommend. Imagine if you went to a doctor and you had a problem and the doctor didn't recommend you to have a particular specialist or to buy a medication because he was afraid you might say that you can't afford it. How angry would you be if you found out from someone else that you could have had your problem fixed? To sum up, how do you get these numbers and how should you use them? 1. How many clients you looked after will depend mainly on your rebooking skills. It's also about marketing, but it depends mostly on how great you are and how much you impress them. If they have an awesome experience, they would decide there and then to return. I keep hearing that they're all nurses, so they can't rebook because they don't know their shifts 6 weeks ahead. That's just another excuse. If you wow them, 9 out of 10 clients will rebook on the day. You can also suggest that they come back for a completely different service on a different day. It's just another recommendation. 2. How much they spend with you. You can recommend services and recommend retail products that will increase your client's spend, and they will be happy that you cared enough to make the suggestion. The average dollar sale is the core success of your business. 3. When they return also comes under the category of what you recommend. You tell them when to come back. And once again, if you know your clients, you will know that they are due in again. So, in simple terms, if you want to focus on your business, these categories are the backbone of your success. The trouble is that too often we think we are not in sales, and then it's not our job to sell people stuff. That is totally wrong. It's your job to recommend whatever will help them to achieve the outcome they're looking for. I hope you enjoyed that and had a laugh or two. If you would like a copy of my physical book, there is a link in the show notes. I've also included the action points from the end of the chapters so that you can get started on your journey immediately. I would love it if you would like and share my podcast so that we can continue to grow together. And I'll talk to you all next week.